Welcome to the With Purpose podcast. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chrissy.
Life is full of ups and downs, but through it all, there is purpose.
A purpose that encourages us, strengthens us, and ultimately glorifies the Lord.
Let's walk this journey together on purpose, with purpose.
Welcome back to the With Purpose podcast with Chrissy and Karen. On today's episode, we have an incredible guest, Dr. Ledivia Strauss. Dr. Ledivia Strauss is a general practitioner with a special interest in functional, integrative, and aesthetic medicine. Her greatest interest lies in the areas of healthy weight management, detoxification, gut healing, metabolic, and hormonal health. God designed women, as with men, in a unique and wonderful way. And a part of that wonderful design is plenty of hormones that we experience in different ways throughout the different stages of our life. Our main focus today in our conversation with you, Dr. Ledivia, will be to learn more about how we can take better care of our bodies, and in that way, our hormonal health too, so that we will be able to honor God with our bodies and all that comes with it, like our emotions and all that. We want to take care of what the Lord has given us, and in that way worship Him with our bodies too. And we are so happy that you are here today to help guide us in how we can do that better. Welcome. It's so good to have you here. And we first want to start with a bit of an introduction to just hear from you. Tell us more about what you do, what your interest is, and what your focus is, please.
Thank you very much for having me here today. It's an absolute privilege to share my story. In integrative medicine, we take a holistic approach to healthcare, where we combine the best of conventional medicine with evidence-based lifestyle and complementary therapies. So we look at the person as a whole. We don't just look at the symptoms and try to mask it with a pill. We actually ask the question on why they are functioning out of balance at that stage of their lives. So in essence, I help patients to connect the dots between their daily choices, between their nutritional choices, their environment, their stresses, and help them heal in a deep and sustainable way.
Wow. I've been following you actually for quite some time, and your health and fitness journey, and I'm just so in awe of how open you are about your faith. And how do you feel that has shaped, how your faith has shaped the way you take care of your body?
Thank you for that question. And as I mentioned to you earlier, it's such a privilege to be able to openly share about this. The Lord has always been a very big part of my life. I was blessed to grow up in a Christian household. Mum and Dad taught us from a small age how important it is to have faith. And then obviously we go through life, we meet different people, we attend different things. My Christianity and my faith in Jesus has always been one of my biggest anchors, my biggest anchor in life. And doing what I do, being a doctor, you often have this question in your mind, am I playing God? Am I overriding what He wanted to have for people? And it might not be something everyone struggles with, but for me, it's a question that I had. And as you know, the Lord talks to us, and it's so nice we can have a conversation with Him, and He actually do answer us. So a couple of years back, He gave me this picture, and if I can refer to 1 Corinthians 9 and Hebrews 12, where He likens our journey on earth to an athlete running a marathon. And also we are athletes running a race towards the big prize. And yes, I know it refers more to the spiritual race, but we do know that we live in our physical bodies now, and we need to take, and that's where He taught me and told me, listen, Ledivia, what you're doing is good, and okay, you're not playing God, you are teaching people to take care of their physical bodies, because for us to be actively participating Christians, making a change in the lives of other people, we are His hands and feet on earth. And if I am constantly anxious, constantly tired, I'm struggling with symptoms holding me back to being the best version and healthiest version of myself, How can I build his kingdom on earth? And he says there that we need to have a body, soul, and spirit. So body is an important part. It's in the Bible. And obviously I went and I checked it. And I said, okay, Lord, thanks for this answer, but now you need to give me proof. And I would encourage all your listeners to actually go and read 1 Corinthians 6, verse 12 to 20. Read it in different translations. He states there exactly what we're supposed to do with our bodies.
Wow.
He says the body is the temple of God. And in this temple on earth, we host His Holy Spirit. The Spirit that brought Jesus back to life is living in each of us in this vessel that we got. So how can I not take care of it as best as I can? That's what He wants for us. So to me, it's a non-negotiable. How can people still wonder if we need to take care of our bodies? Just as an athlete, I'm a runner. I can't just get up from the couch and do a half marathon. I need to prepare. I need to train daily. I need to eat healthy. I need to get my mindset right. We are running the race of life. And to me, the same principles we should apply that.
Amazing.
Sure, we've been speaking about this topic a lot, is that we need to worship the Lord in all spheres of life. And I feel like taking care of your body, taking care of like making better choices for yourself, for your health, is a form of worship too. And that's incredible. It's so good to be speaking about this stuff because I think it's one of the things we might not take as serious as other forms of worship, but it needs to be taken seriously too.
To me, it's not a matter of vanity. It's not about what size dress I wear or what does my hair color look like.
Yeah.
I'm honoring God by thanking Him for the body that He gave me, and I'm becoming the best version I can be. I'm not trying to be you or somebody out there. Each person should strive to be the best he or she can be with what the Lord gave them.
Wow, absolutely. That's amazing. One of your interests is hormonal health. Is there anything if you had to say, how can we do something about our hormonal health? Is there anything we can do about it? And if so, what can we do? It's such a big part. Like that's also a thing we talk about often is how sometimes it can feel like our hormones rules us.
Yes.
And I've told Karen, like, I don't want that. I want to be a good steward of my hormones too. And I want to let God rule over me and not when I'm in a certain time of month be out of control with regards to my hormones. Is there something we can do about it? How can we have healthier hormones in a sense? Is that even how you say it? Please share your thoughts on that.
It's absolutely incredible being a Christian and being a doctor. And I'm saying this because I cannot believe that people cannot be believers studying medicine or looking at the physiology of the human body. It's absolutely incredible. You know that we have about 85 hormones in our body that needs to work in a balance for us to be the healthiest we can be and to get up in the morning and function, go to bed at night and have a good night's sleep. The good news is that over a couple of those hormones, we've got more control than we actually realize. But there are also a couple of them that we don't have so much control over, and they are under the regulation of our physiology. So, for example, the ones that we do have control over are something like our insulin or our glucose, because we decide what we eat, when we eat, how much we eat, and then you'll have that glucose response, the insulin response, and you go about your day. For instance, your stress hormones. What do you do when you stress? How do you handle a stressful situation? So I'm not saying that you tell your body how much and when to squirt out which hormone, but our daily choices actually influence many of the hormones that we produce throughout the day. What do you do when it's close to bedtime? Do you switch off the extra lights? Do you calm down? Do you drink your chamomile tea to have your melatonin rise more? Do you go into the sun to have vitamin D production? So we've got a lot of control over a lot of hormones. How do you handle your detoxification processes in your body? How do you support that to have better sex hormone breakdown, to not have that terrible PMS or that, as you've mentioned now, feeling your monthly cycle so much? And then the ones that we have less control over are more the hormones coming from the brain, the pituitary gland telling the ovaries when to make which hormones, the thyroid hormone. So it's an absolute amazing process taking place daily. As we are sitting here, we are squirting our different hormones. And we really do have more control than people realize. And I often take time to sit with my patients and explain to them which hormones give which symptoms, and then how our lifestyle, our daily choices actually do influence the production of those hormones and how they talk to each other.
And is it mainly food-wise, do you feel like? Is the biggest influence on your hormones the things you eat?
For me, food plays a massive role. And why do I say that? I always say there's 7 pillars that we need to work on when it comes to health. But the biggest and most important pillar to me is what we eat. Why? There's only one thing all of us have got almost, actually 100% control over, and that's what you eat. You don't always know what stressor you will have, when you will fall asleep at night, when you will reach a bathroom. But you have control over what you put in your mouth. We are not babies. I take the food and I put it in my mouth. So because that's the one thing I feel that we have 100% control over, it plays such a big role. And the food we eat will influence our blood sugar balance. It will influence which nutrients you give your body. I do believe that we should not see food merely as just energy to continue through our day. The food we eat is information to our cells and our DNA. It's the building blocks of which every cell in your body is formed of. That's how we give nutrition to our cells. So the food choices you make is extremely important. And we can go a little bit deeper into that further in the podcast if you want to.
Yeah, it's almost scary that if you're eating the wrong foods the whole time, that's what your DNA has been built by. That is very
100%.
confronting.
It's
Sure.
massive.
While we are on the topic of hormones, and I feel it's become a hot topic at the moment. It hasn't always been spoken about, but menopause. I feel, a lot of women go through it. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what will help them. And, now it's only being discussed now. But do you have any, tips for women? And before that, what is menopause? And, we're at the stage where we're not going through that right now, but what can we do to prepare for when it comes?
Thanks for that question. Female hormones are one of my areas of interest, maybe because I'm a female myself, but that's where my whole actually spark came in practicing integrative medicine was from working with women in my aesthetic practice. I was doing the aesthetic treatments, and all of them had the same questions, they had the same complaints, they had the same concerns, and it seemed like it was just not answered by the conventional practitioner they went to. And that's where 15 to 20 years ago where my whole interest was sparked in doing a deeper dive. So what is menopause? The interesting thing is the real medical definition of menopause is it's one day in a woman's life, and that's the day when you haven't had your regular menstrual period for 12 months. So on the 12th month that you have not had your regular period, on that day, so is it a minute, is it an hour, is it a day, but on that day you are menopausal. The next day you are postmenopausal. Yes, it's only semantics, but I want people to understand that they often say, but I've gone through menopause, it's done. It just in essence means that the regular monthly sex hormones that came from your ovaries, the production stopped. So you're not making any estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone anymore. It's a little bit nuanced. You never make no hormones. The fat cells around your belly can make a bit of estrogen. Testosterone comes a bit from the adrenal gland still. So, but in essence, you're making too little hormones to have a menstrual bleed and to have that all the positive effect. So there's a lot of ways to support menopause and the years leading up to menopause that we call the perimenopause. And those are the stormy years. I'm in the middle of that now, but by the grace of God, I'm managing it with lifestyle and support with certain supplements, etc. In perimenopause, the production of our sex hormones are declining, but they are not, it hasn't stopped yet. But it's not that perfect up and down that you would have had in your premenopausal years, in your reproductive years. You've got this monthly up and down and this dance between estrogen and progesterone, bit of testosterone. And these hormones then produce your monthly cycle to make you fertile to reproduce, because that's why we are on earth. We don't necessarily want to reproduce every month, so there are certain precautions that we take. So then when we go into perimenopause, our hormones are in a little bit of a chaotic fashion. One month we make a lot of estrogen, then we make nothing, then we make only a little bit, and progesterone is in a slow decline because we stop ovulating. We are becoming less fertile. If you don't ovulate, you can't make progesterone, and progesterone is our calming hormone. It's our natural Valium. It's what's making us sleep. And that's why often women in their late 30s, early 40s, because perimenopause can last anything from 7 to 10 years up to menopause. And that's why women in as early as their late 30s, they start experiencing symptoms. They go to the practitioner voicing these concerns, and unfortunately, in most of the cases, they are being dismissed. It's just hormonal, it's just PMS. And unfortunately, we are being taught from young girl, PMS, it's normal, you are hormonal. You all know the saying, is it that time of the month again? I think we should celebrate that time of the month. What a privilege, what a blessing to have this hormonal fluctuations. We should not see this as a burden. But I do get what you're saying, that this hormonal fluctuations can feel like a burden. And that's where lifestyle choices, having enough fiber in your diet, calming down, going for a walk, chatting to a friend, keeping your blood sugar stable, having great stress management techniques can all support your hormones. Working on your detoxification pathway, taking supplements if and when needed. And then in menopause, have an assessment done with a knowledgeable practitioner. Am I a candidate for hormone replacement therapy? If not, what else can I do? Don't just accept it as, it's a part of life, it's just who I am. My mom struggled, my aunt struggled, my grandmother struggled. You do not need to struggle. The Lord wants all of us to live a full and an abundant life. You know, He says in His word, I want you to have life, and life in abundance. And to me, the word abundance means enjoying every aspect of life without feeling that I have to struggle or I need to hide in my room.
Sure. I think it's so true what you said earlier is like, especially in a medical field, being a doctor, knowing all these details of how we were created. How can you not believe in God? And that's so true. Yes. He made us in a very detailed, very wonderful way. And I'm so glad there's more information these days. I'm so glad that people are speaking about these topics more. Even just if we're not in our menopausal phase or perimenopausal, just now understanding my cycle better, like a monthly cycle, to know when I should eat what more of. Those types of details that weren't spoken about. I don't think my mom ever knew these details, so she couldn't teach me that. But to be able to now read up, learn about this, understand your body better, and then in that way be in a bigger, almost have more awe of the Lord and how He created us and how our bodies works. It's much more, I don't know if it is, but for me it feels much more complicated than the male body. And in that way,
is so true.
And in that way, just so much more opportunity to be like, wow, the Lord did that so that can happen or whatever.
Yes.
So so cool. Thank you so much. It's good to be prepared for menopause. She's turning 30 almost. I am in my 30s, so it's good to know.
You still have many happy years of healthy hormone production ahead of you.
Amazing. And just then going from that phase of life to speaking to our younger audience. Anywhere from teenagers, young in your 20s, 30s, whatever. What advice do you have? What do you wish you started doing earlier in your life? Maybe talk about that a bit.
Well, with age comes a lot of wisdom and a lot of freedom, I actually want to say. So it's actually a privilege to age.
Sure.
There's the biggest thing I would tell my younger self is to stop trying to be the skinniest version of yourself and work towards being the strongest and healthiest version of yourself. I think we live in a world, well, I used to grow up in a world where the skinniest girls were seen as the most beautiful or the healthiest, and that is so not true. It's nothing to do with weight. It's about, are you strong enough to carry your body? Are you strong enough to, like I say, be the hands and feet to the Lord in this world? And are you the healthiest version you can be at whatever weight that might be on a scale? And then the other big thing to me is to stop worrying about what other people say about you or what other people think about you. The only voice that matters is what God says about me. And I love that song of Lauren Daigle where she says, I am who you say I am, because I am who He says I am, and I am God's princess. He did not make a mistake. Each one of us were created on purpose for a purpose. And that's why I also love the name of your podcast is there's such a different purpose for each and every one of us. Stop trying to compare yourself to other people and stop listening to what other people think of you. So those, I think, are the two biggest lessons I would tell my 7-year-old or 12-year-old self, to just break free from the shackles that the world put on us.
I think we both can relate to that, and I feel, I'm even in still dealing with that. I, had a pregnancy loss last year, and after that, I was told I am a bit underweight, and I always thought what was on the scale was okay, and dabbled in exercising, not too much. And then I started working out weightlifting and then Pilates, and then really focusing on my nutrition and eating a lot more than I ever have. And when I see the scale, because it increased quite a lot, and I look at the scale and I'm like, wow, I don't know how to feel about that number. But then, the people around me are saying, no, you're healthier. Yeah. This is good for you. And I think, it's to honor God in, like you say, looking after your body, and then it doesn't reflect in a number on the scale. And I really appreciate you saying that. And I think a lot of the younger girls can really they're dealing with this every day, especially with social media and everything. So I think it's so important that we encourage this message. So, and on that point of the younger generation, or phase of life, we are I was on birth control from a very young age because of my skin, and I kind of went on it. My skin did clear up, and then as soon as it didn't really work well with me, I think I was not a very nice person to be around on the pill. My poor husband. And I feel like I thought I'm much better off the pill. But then the skin problems came back. So it didn't really fix anything for me. But we don't have to go too deep into this topic. But what is your kind of take on birth control?
Thanks for that question, and it's a loaded question. Yeah. If you allow me to speak for 3 hours, I'm sure I can do that on this topic specifically. I had the privilege to record a podcast with a different company on this topic specifically, so we will put a link in the notes for your listeners if they were interested in listening to that. Why do I say it's a loaded question? Because firstly, what is the name of the pill says? It's a contraceptive pill. So it was created to be used for a short while for a woman that are in this age of life or the stage of life where she's not ready to fall pregnant yet, so she needs to prevent it. And I think it's one of the most life-changing discoveries that they had in the 60s, because suddenly the whole field opened for women the same as with men, because we had a little bit more control over our bodies, so we could also now go into the workspace and I'm not bad-mouthing the pill and the creation of it. To me is, why is it being used? And unfortunately nowadays it's being used so often to mask certain symptoms or to just get rid of certain debilitating symptoms without digging deeper into why the girl or the lady might have that symptoms. And I absolutely am for prescribing the birth control pill for contraception and also as a temporary plaster while you are working on the underlying cause. But unfortunately, so often these days, young girls are started by a well meaning practitioner without really explaining to the girl what she's putting in her body, what possible consequences this might have. And to me, the biggest, I almost want to say, lie out there is telling a girl that the pill will fix your problems. The pill won't fix anything. I wish I could shout this from the rooftops. Why do I say this? And it's based in medical science. I'm not saying lying stuff or sucking it out of my thumb. The pill, in essence, temporarily shuts down your natural hormone production, your ovarian hormone production. So a pill bleed is not a real menstrual bleed. A pill bleed is a withdrawal bleed because for 3 to 5 days in your placebo pills you don't get hormones and that's why you bleed. So it's if girls don't remember anything, just remember that the pill temporarily overrides your natural hormone production, and that's why some girls feel amazing on it. And please, girls, don't stop your pill because I'm saying these things. Just go and have a conversation with your practitioner, asking them, why did you have your initial symptoms? For how long do you need to stay on this pill? And what are you doing to fix the underlying cause, if that makes sense to you?
That's perfect. Sure. Thank you.
I'm excited to listen to that
Me
podcast
too.
that you did. And we will include that in our bio too, because I feel like there's much to be learned about this topic. And it's so good that there's information out there on this. What would you say would be for anyone listening now and thinking, oh, I want to make changes to my lifestyle. I don't know where to begin. What would you say would be the first steps in making some important lifestyle changes to live a healthier lifestyle?
The most important thing, and again, this came from years of experience. In my earlier years, I would have probably firstly told the lady, go and eat this, do that, exercise. The first and biggest thing that our listeners should go and look at if they wanted to make a healthy lifestyle is find your why. Why do you want to live a healthier life? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to get fit? Whatever your end goal is, go and take it a couple of steps back and take some time and find your why. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful things. Simon Sinek wrote that book. Go and look to watch a YouTube video, how to find your why. But why do I say this? If you want to make changes to become healthier, it's going to mean that you need to get rid of some stuff in your life. You're going to have to adopt new habits and new ways of doing things. So your why needs to be bigger than the struggles you will face making these changes. If your why is not big enough, you're going to start new every Monday. Start a new diet. Why do so many diets and exercise plans fail? Because most people are not thinking about why am I doing this. Short story, I had a patient, she really wanted to lose weight, and she came to me and she said, I want to lose weight. My weight is really bothering me. And I said, but why? No, because I'm 20 kgs overweight. Yeah, but why do you feel you're overweight? She said, listen, I want to play with my kids. I've got 2 boys. They're very active. I can't run around on the grass with them to play kick the ball. And so I want to lose weight. I said, there's your why. You want to be healthier to play with your boys. You want to be healthier to have energy. In a matter of 6 months, she reached a goal weight after having been on diets for 15 years. Wow. Because suddenly, it was not just about reaching a number on the scale. She knew why she wanted to be healthy. So now, before she took a bite of that carrot cake or before she bought the milkshake, she made a different choice because she realized by constantly drinking the milkshake, it's a silly example, but you understand what I'm saying. So she suddenly had a different why, and she could stick to it. So that's the biggest thing. Then the second one is to be really practical, is learn to read a food label. And at Revita Health with my dietitian, we developed a free resource for people to learn how to read a food label. And why is that so important? Again, it comes down to the food we eat. You have got 100% control over what you put in your body. We're living in a world inundated with toxins, with artificial additives in our food, and we're not even aware of it. So learn to read a food label. Look at what you are putting in your body. And there's an easy way to determine what's the best diet to follow. It doesn't need to have a name. It doesn't need to be keto or low carb or paleo or carnivore. Stop labeling diets. Just go back to eating food the way the Lord intended it is for us. I always tell my patients, if it's growing, if it's flying, if it's running, or if it's swimming, you can eat it. Anything other than that comes from a factory. And I'm not saying go leave all of that out. I mean, all live busy lives. I also buy my mayonnaise and my tomato sauce and my tomato and onion mix from a shop. But learn to read a food label and learn to become aware of what you're putting in your body. That will have the biggest impact on all of the people out there. If they can just, when you buy something with a food label on, just turn it around and look at carbohydrates, of which total sugar. That's the biggest culprit in everything we eat. Look at your milk, look at your bread, stuff we eat daily. There's sugar in everything. And there's about between 80 and 100 different names of sugar out there. So they are tricking us. Wow. They are misleading us. So just educate yourself. Go and read through this little document we created, teaching you how to read a food label. That will make the biggest impact on how you live a healthy life.
That's amazing.
Awesome. We're going to definitely share that.
Yeah.
I can relate because I've been on this health journey as well, and you just feel so overwhelmed and you don't know where to start. So I think that's a great place to
because
start.
Today eggs are healthy, tomorrow eggs are dangerous. Today you need to drink water, no, don't drink tap water. You have to eat fruit, no, fruit has got too much sugar in it. I mean, again, if it's running, if it's swimming, if it's flying, or if it's growing, you are allowed to have it.
That's amazing.
Thank you. So you mentioned toxins. We know that food isn't the only thing, or your nutrition isn't the only thing that affects your hormones. What other things, I've heard of perfumes and what else? Detergents. Yeah. Is that another step that we should be taking, or can we just do the nutrition thing?
That's a difficult question to answer. Firstly, I'm not an environmental toxin expert, so I won't go into the details of what the names and the stuff are, which one's really dangerous. Again, there's a lot of conflicting information out there. But what I tell my patients is try to stick to the more natural stuff where and whenever possible. Sure. Like I said, we live in a modern world. I wish we could all go and live in a cabin in the woods and stay away from everything that's man-made. It's just not possible. But as far as it is in your control, try to stick to the more natural stuff. Yes, I also buy Stay Soft and my dishwashing liquid, etc., etc. I don't have time to make everything at home. For the people that can, well done. I think it's amazing, but try to live as natural and toxin-free as possible. And for the rest, do and change what's in your control. And furthermore, support your body's detoxification system. Again, the Lord created us in an incredible way. And looking into this whole thing, I realized that there's one organ in the body that can regenerate itself. You know which one that is? It's the liver. Oh. The liver is the one organ in our bodies that can actually regenerate itself. And it's not in the Bible or probably is scientific, but it's a epiphany that I had. It's because the liver is one of the most, if not the most important organ in our bodies, because the liver is helping us metabolize everything we ingest and everything we are exposed to, even the hormones in our bodies. It goes through the liver through certain phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 is the excretion system. So the Lord created us in a way that the body can help us work through these toxins. Yes, we should not overload the body. That's why get rid of the ultra-processed foods. Get rid of all the sprays and stuff that you have in your body that you know might be harmful. And for the rest, support your body by ways of eating healthy food, doing a liver detox from time to time, and just support the systems that you are born with.
Sure. Well, just the thought that came to mind right now is just praise the Lord that He is ultimately in control. That
100%.
we obviously should try our best, and like you say, some people can do more than other people, and we do what we can, and we honor Him as we try to live better and live healthier. But praise the Lord that He knows. I mean, I'm just thinking of my grandmother. Your grandmother is turning 100 this year. I don't know how many measures she took in her life and say my grandmother is turning 93. So, but I mean, they come from a different time where there were less of these toxins. But just praise the Lord that He is ultimately the one that holds our lives in His hands, and that we can trust Him, and that He knows about all these things that's going into our bodies, and that He created us with a liver. So how cool that He
And
helps
as
us.
He says in His word, everything is permissible, but not everything is good. And that's also what I tell my patients. Whenever you've eaten something, just sit and reflect for a bit, how did that make me feel? Because some people can have gluten, some people can have milk, some people can have more sugar than others. We are all different, but learn to reflect on your symptoms. Oftentimes people get that afternoon slump and they think, oh my word, my body's broken. And I tell them, just go back a step. Why did you have 2 hours ago to eat? Do you not perhaps have a blood glucose dip now? Did you not have a upsetting phone call an hour ago that your cortisol and adrenaline raised and you haven't gotten rid of all of that yet? There are so many things, like I say, our symptoms are actually little pieces of information telling your body that something's off. We need to learn to reflect on which daily choice had which effect on me. And that way we can also decide, okay, is having 3 nachos good for me, or should I maybe rather only have had 1? Or should I not have maybe had a nice, warm, hearty meal or a big salad instead of just grabbing a muffin at the one-stop shop?
Yeah, sure. And I can just so relate to what you're saying about what you go through life and how that affects your. I remember just a couple of years back with our journey with Elian, I sat at the gynecologist. I was like, my skin is just not, I don't know what's happening. I've never had problems with my skin. I don't know if it's because I'm not focusing as much on what I'm eating. And he was just like, no, it's what you're going through. The stress you've been through is coming out in different ways, and that's through your skin as well. So, and lack of sleep, I think you will probably be able to say that sleep is such an important part of a healthy lifestyle as well. So definitely, I think stress in itself has such a massive effect on how we physically
Definitely.
Just for an interesting thing, what should always be in our home or in our fridge? Is it rooibos tea? Is it garlic? Is it lemons? Is it what do you have in your home that's really good? That's a good thing to have day to day almost.
Okay, the first thing that I would say, there's 2 things that all of us should have in our lives. The one is have a friend that you can bounce things off of, that you can just phone, because community is such a big thing. So have a friend, a mum, a aunt, a grandmother, have somebody in your corner that you can share things with.
I love that. That's so cool.
The second one is have some quiet time throughout the day to spend some time with the Lord. In today's world, we live with so much noise around us. Even if we sit still, we grab our phones and we scroll through social media. So no, your mind's not still. Your mind's filled with things from outside. It's not always a bad thing, because we can also get good things. But remember that if we don't have stillness, if we don't have quiet time, we might not hear the Lord's voice. So to me, those are the 2. I know it's not physical things, but have that in your life. And then, like I say, after this podcast, go and take an hour or set some time aside on a Saturday or Sunday and clean out your cupboards. turn around the packets, look at the food labels, and get rid of the ultra-processed foods that are not serving you as a family. Get rid of all the sugary drinks. Stop drinking your calories, and then fill your cupboards and your fridge with foods in its purest form. So it's not one thing that everybody should have. Make life easier for yourself. Have healthier snack options available, because again, in our rushed lives, oftentimes I have people telling me, listen, Liv, I've got a full-time job. I've got 3 kids. My husband demands my attention. I've got cell group. I need to bake a cake for the... We've got so many things on our plate. So make it easier for yourself in having stuff that are already prepared. Have 12 hard-boiled eggs. Make some frikadelle, some meatballs on a weekend. Buy 2 cooked chickens. Have ready-made stuff in your fridge so that we don't have to go past the quick shop to get the takeout meal.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a very good advice.
I feel like we've learned so much today. We'd love to have you back one day to discuss more. But yeah, where can our listeners find you? And I know you mentioned the liver detox, and I'm sure you have a program or something that our listeners can go to if they like, this is something that I need to do. Where can we find you? And yeah, tell us.
I feel very passionate about educating and enabling people to live a sustainable lifestyle and to make changes. And it's not always possible to come and see me as a one-on-one patient. And that's not my aim, to see how many more people I can get to run through my practice doors. To me, it's let's create a community of like-minded people that really want to make changes. And that's where this whole idea behind my online courses started from. So we've got a couple of online courses, and they're all available on our website. So if they go to www.revitahealth.co.za, there's a little link that says online courses, and there's a video telling what each course is about. And like I say, I give away a lot of free resources also on my Instagram page, my personal one, Dr Ledivia Strauss, or Revita Health. We teach you how to read food labels, how to reflect back on what habits are helping you, which ones are not. There's a free strength training document that we created. So, yeah, I love for people to start making changes in the immediate home and then spreading it out to your friends, your community. And that's what it's all about. It's about creating a healthy community where we can just all flourish.
Absolutely. And I just want to encourage our listeners to please go and follow you, because I'm so grateful for the influence that you have on Instagram, and it's a positive one. You share your faith, and just you know, the way that you encourage women and everyone to be healthy and to work out. I just want to thank you for the positive influence that you have. And
we'll put all your detail in our descriptions as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Ledivia. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and talk with us. We love this conversation and we learned so much, and I know that our listeners will be so encouraged and so motivated to now learn more and go look and read up a bit more. I think you said earlier as well, there's so much information out there and it can get overwhelming. We can easily get discouraged in our health journeys and choices because we don't know where to start or what is true, what to leave out, what to include. So thank you so much for shedding some light and just for all the information and the truth that you speak on this topic. I think that's just another thing that we want to just thank you for what you're doing, the purpose you are living out in speaking truth over these topics. And it's so important to shed some light over these very important things. For our listeners, we want to end off with our segment of Purpose in Action. And we want to encourage you, how can we honor the Lord in our lifestyle? And what changes can you make where you are in your day-to-day to really honor Him and worship Him with your bodies, with the choices you make to live a healthier lifestyle? And then also to commit this journey that you are on of making up better choices, of just changing some things, to commit it to Him and to ask Him to help you as you journey through it. So we look forward to hearing back from you. Please let us know if you enjoyed this conversation, and just the changes you will be making to turn around your lifestyle.
And connect with us on Instagram at the With Purpose podcast, and let's keep this conversation going. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit the follow button, leave us a review. It really helps our podcast, and share it with a friend who needs this encouragement. And remember, every day is an opportunity to live with purpose
and to the glory of God.